Well, good morning, everyone. We are just about ready to get started here. Josh will be joining us momentarily as we kick over to our main chat here. There he is. Look at that. Yeah, you're kind of breaking up there a little bit. Yeah, every now and again it goes in and out. Seems appropriate.
I feel like Comcast can suck it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I just turned the sound on so people can hear you now. Sorry about that, everyone.
Oh, hey, everybody! Welcome to Unwrapped.
Yeah, let's turn it back off. Yeah, we'll just turn you back off there, Josh. You don't. Sound terrible.
I changed my mind.
You changed my mind. We're just gonna turn that back off.
Yeah. Is it that bad?
Sometimes. All right. So, have you been having a good weekend? A good weekend for you?
Yeah, and busy weekend. I got some schoolwork done. I still got some math homework I got to take care of. But
That's fun.
I'm hanging in there. Hung out with some friends last night. Had some good conversations.
Well, that's good. Definitely nothing like what we talk about on the podcast here, right?
Nothing we talked about yet, but I'm dancing around the ideas you and I have shared and discussed.
Yeah,
over time.
I was reviewing the what we're going to be talking about today, and there was some discrepancies based on things that we kind of skipped over, glossed over, that we're going to have to go back and revisit today. I know I'd mentioned them to you earlier. Certain things that we kind of glossed over in Section 2 and 3 of the Constitution that we're going to have to revisit today. So it'll be fun to talk about that for sure.
I know I'm excited.
I'm excited every day to talk about this stuff. The more that I learn about how all this stuff is going on is crazy. So let's.
Too. Well, and especially if you put it in a broad context of everything that we've got going on politically today.
Oh yeah.
I think it's very pertinent right now for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. Today we finished up, quote unquote, finished up Section 5 last week. Today we're jumping on to Section 6. It's only 2 paragraphs, but that 2 paragraphs, dude, that should take us no time at all, right, Josh? We'll be done in 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, I mean, the idea of of a legislative body, setting its own pay, and I'm sure we'll get through it real quick.
No, that's not what this is about. You're thinking about a different one. This is just saying that the pay comes from the Treasury of the United States, that they're paid by the federal government, not by the state.
Sure,
which makes
but
sense.
it also I believe it also says that they can they decide how much they're going to get paid in Section 6.
No, so this is an interesting. So let's jump in. Let's read Section 6 here real quick because there's a few key things going on here. So this is a very unassuming section. Let's jump back. So it's 2 paragraphs. Section 6. It's you would think that this would be very simple and that it wouldn't be anything crazy. So the senators and representatives shall receive a compensation for their services to be ascertained by law and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. Okay. So that is one part. That is, we go to the other things. This is one key piece. This basically states that senators and representatives are paid by the federal government, not by anybody else, but by the federal government, and it makes sense. They are representatives of the federal government. They work, quote unquote, for the federal government. This is one of those things to where it makes sense because if they were paid by the state, if they were paid by whatever, somebody else is controlling their pay, not the federal government, not the bodies that govern the federal government, right? So, everybody gets paid the same. You don't have representatives from New York making millions of dollars while representatives from, Louisiana or Mississippi are making chump change. No reason that I chose those two states at all. I could have chose, California and Iowa, for example. There's no reason that I would choose states that would be, that would have a higher GDP than the other.
Yeah.
But anyways, so what you have, so that right there is that statement in and of itself. I don't have any qualms over that. Do you?
Well, the only thing I would point out is that it's that their pay is set by law, and I think
Correct.
that's the clause that is used, that where they, because at the end of the day they're the governing body that writes the law.
So they set their pay.
Yeah,
That
and that's
is
how they set their pay.
100% correct. To
Yeah,
be ascertained by law. Now, I mean, is there a different way that their pay should be ascertained?
I don't know if it should be ascertained by themselves. Like I mean,
Well, by
it,
law. So you can.
yeah,
So the thing is you can create a law, or you can put a law on books that they have, that they have to vote on. Should there be somebody else or a different body or something? Should it not be law that should set their, or I guess the question would be, is it a law that they have a right or don't have a right to change, even though they're the governing body? Should there be something in the Constitution that sets their pay that they don't have a choice in?
right. And I don't know if it should necessarily be that there should be some other lever or mechanism that sets their pay. I guess the way I'm thinking about it is, and I don't know the answer to this off the top of my head. When they do write a law to increase their pay, does it do they put that into effect themselves, or does it go through the whole bill process where the executive branch has to approve it? And and let's say if for some reason the Supreme Court decided that their pay increase was unconstitutional, and I don't know how they would do that,
Yeah.
but that they could revoke that pay raise. And I guess if those levers are still in place, I think I think I would be good with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, no, no. And so let's see here. Paid out by the treasurer. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Go away. Governed by Article 1, Section 6, established by law, most recently through the Ethics Reform Act of 1989. Pay rate is set by law, typically adjusted via annual cost of living increases, with a base salary for most members at $174,000 per year, and higher for other. Let's see. Here,
Yeah,
the 27th Amendment prevents a pay raise from taking effect until after the next congressional election.
I like
So no
that.
lawmaker can vote themselves a pay increase before leaving office. So so that's where the 27th Amendment. I knew that there was another amendment somewhere in it, but basically it says if you're if they vote to increase their pay, they don't get it until after the next election.
And especially when you put into when you put into place like the term limits and the other stuff that we've talked about, I think that's fair. And I guess the only other thing I would think about inside of this is benefits, like how Congress has their own healthcare. They don't they don't participate in healthcare.gov. They don't they have their own private insurance that is completely separate from anything I would get from the VA or from or from what like
Well,
federal
okay, so
bureaucracy workers would get.
okay, so the ACA, the Affordable Care Act,
Mhm.
which everybody loves. which is is not that Obamacare crap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The the
It's been, and
what was that? I'm sorry, you broke up there.
just I was just saying the idea that the Affordable Care Act, that nobody disagrees about, and that there's no conflict over it at all, right?
Correct. It's only
You know,
Obamacare. Obamacare is the
yeah,
bad. Affordable Care Act is the good.
yeah,
If only we could have figured out a way to make a compromise between the two.
mhm,
If only there was a way that we could have gotten everybody on board for a compromise.
yeah.
I don't, for anybody out there, just in case they don't understand, but the Affordable Care Act is Obamacare. It's the same thing. It is literally what the Republicans and or that side of the aisle called the Affordable Care Act. They called it Obamacare. The ACA is Obamacare. It's the exact same thing. It's just
And then,
certain people's
and
nicknames.
yeah, yeah. Well, and they did it to vilify it and to
Oh
be
yeah,
able to point a finger at somebody and say, "Hey, this is your fault."
exactly. It's the nickname that they made up for the Affordable Care Act, and the thing is the people say the Affordable Care Act is great and Obamacare is terrible. I don't
Yeah,
understand it. But anyways, so the Affordable Care Act dictated that the Congress is no longer eligible for the federal employees health benefits program. That they have to get their care from the ACA. So they have to go on the ACA and obtain coverage. So
huh.
so that was a
I did.
change.
I did not know that. So
I
so they have to provide their own private insurance. Do they get a stipend or something
Yes,
else?
yes. So the government contributes to the premium using the same formula as the FEHB, which is
Which
approximately
is the same thing everybody
72% of
else
the weighted
gets.
average of the plan premiums, not exceeding 75% of any specific plan's total premium. They pay the remainder through payroll deductions. So they can have up to 75% paid by the government.
But by that token, they could go out and get the most Cadillac style healthcare plan that's available through the ACA, which is, my understanding of it, could be anything that's offered through Blue Cross Blue Shield, like United, any of those, and get the best possible care.
Correct. Whatever is on the ACA, but it makes them use that vehicle to get it rather than using the federal employees. So that, I mean, there's obviously a reason behind that. The reason
Yeah.
being that, you know, they want to put them on the same, quote unquote, the same playing field. But
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to sign this into law, then you're going to play by the same rules as everybody else. The only difference being that it's paid out at 75%, and you got to cover the other 25% of the cost. Which I think on its face, I think that's reasonable. How do you feel about it?
give me just 1 second here.
Yeah.
I want to see. I want to
Yeah,
check
because
on.
I think there is some turmoil and some wringing of hands and fists over this, and I'm wondering if
Okay, so
there's
they do have access to the dental and vision program, which is you pay 100% of the premiums, flexible spending accounts, long-term care, office of the attending physician, limited services such as routine exams and consultations at the Capitol for an annual fee, and they can also use the VA stuff. It looks like medical and emergency
okay.
dental care at military treatment facilities in the nation capital region at no charge for outpatient.
For 5 years, meaning prior to retirement, continue their coverage to the contract. Okay.
I can barely hear you, bud.
I was reading to myself. I
Oh,
apologize.
okay. So yeah, in retirement, there's a whole other thing there. So the Affordable Care Act puts Congress on, makes them go to the marketplace.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, I mean,
And
that's not a bad thing.
I, Yeah, no, I think that's on its face. I think that's pretty fair. I'd love to hear how other people feel about it.
Yeah, no, I think
And
that
I've,
that
and I've never used the ACA. I've never used healthcare.gov to find my own
I have.
family. And how was that experience for you?
I mean, it was expensive as all get out.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe that's a conversation for another time, and especially, where you're looking at the differences is that, well, there's nobody paying 75% of my premium um, to get this help, to get healthcare for me and my family.
Correct. Oh, this is hilarious. Okay. Do you? I don't. Can you see what I brought up here? This is
Yeah,
this is amazing. And these are obviously.
I
You see Obamacare-application.org, Obamacare-enroll.org, which
yeah, I
need,
see.
which these are none of these are actual like federal sites
The third party sites that have been set up to
to get the
to
click-throughs.
garner clicks,
Yeah,
yeah, and to sell ads.
yeah, oh yeah, 100%. These are fake. These are not real ones. Like you go to healthcare.gov and you go in here. So and then you apply and all that stuff. But yeah, no, it was obscenely expensive. Something like $2,200 a month um,
Wow.
for healthcare, and then you get like I don't know, $15,000 deductible.
Yeah, that seems affordable for the average person,
So
making 50 to 70 thousand
yeah, for a
dollars a year.
for a
The
family,
average family.
that's for a
Yeah,
family. Single, you're looking at like anywhere between $200 to $400 a month. But yeah, for a family, $2,200 was about average between $200 and $2,200, and then some obscene deductible to where it's funny because I'm paying, we'll just do 2,000 a month times 12. That's $24,000 a year you're paying for healthcare,
yeah,
and then you have a $15,000 deductible. So before you actually get any coverage, you're paying 39,000, almost 40 grand.
and is everything deductible or like outpatient and other stuff
No.
like
You
that?
have you have some stuff that's covered at like
Or if
50%.
you have surgery or anything that's like out of the ordinary, like
It
it's all deductible.
that all goes towards your deductible. You're paying towards your deductible. Like
Yeah,
it'll have, um, coverage starts at whatever. Like there's a lot of different plans. I'm not, we're not going over healthcare
yeah.
on this one. We'll do that next year.
It's like the end result of this is that I don't think there's anything necessarily that we need to change um, in that statement, and in that section, other than knowing that, and I think we figured that out, that a pay raise for Congress has to be signed into law the exact same way that any other law does, and so it's not, you know. And I think there's bad information out there, and people say it just so that they can get mad at Congress, that they can give themselves a pay raise,
Yeah.
and that's not necessarily true. So that's just changing the narrative. It's like, no, they can't just give themselves a pay raise. It's not that simple.
I mean, they can. It's just they have to be reelected to get it.
Well, and but not only that, but it still has to be signed by the executive branch. It still has to be put into law. It has
Yep.
to go through the executive process as every other law. And that if it's if it's a ridiculous amount, one, I would hope that the executive branch wouldn't sign that into law, and
Yeah.
two, that the Supreme Court would then go back and look at it and be like, no, this is unconstitutional. Like this is, you're not going to do this.
Yeah. And I think that, in future conversations that we have, I know that there's been talks of doing something like tying it to a percentage of the GDP of their state, or percentage of the average. So there's ways to tie it to their state to make their state more profitable or something like that. But I don't know if that's right. I think everybody should get the same pay, whatever. I think, because they're
Well,
all representing the same, you're representing the people. I don't think it should be tied to that necessarily. But
well,
there,
yeah.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I just, there's too many, like somebody that represents Silicon Valley or where I'm from, like Research Triangle, where there's a larger population of people that make more money, or you're in a business, district versus somebody that's representing, people that are out in, rural Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it gives the wrong incentives rather than representing the people. They're starting to represent, businesses to, ways to make more money for themselves. If you
Right.
if you tie it to something like that, I think,
It gives them a lens to where they're looking at it like, oh, hey, if I increase the GDP, like
yeah,
then I'm going to make more money.
no matter how I
And
do it, good or bad.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like no matter who I hurt, who I like, how I do it, what moral compass I use to get there.
Yeah, yeah. So that's one of the things that I'm, you know, and you could take it to where Congress represents the whole United States. So okay, well then they should get paid, maybe double the median or double the mean or average, or you can even go one of those things. Take the top 5% and the bottom 5%, and then get rid of those, and then have their pay is whatever the average or the median of the rest is. To take off the outliers or something like that. Like that's, but again, we're not talking about pay. We're just talking about Section 6. But there's thoughts from that perspective to get, hey, is there a way that we could, rather than them being able to say, cost of living, like we're going through a lot of inflationary stuff right now. Well, inflation went up, 10% or whatever. So we're going to give ourselves a pay raise to account for that. Well, it never goes back down. If inflation goes down, their pay doesn't go down. That's not how that works. It's like one of those things like, hey, we're we don't want to raise the minimum wage because that's going to increase the price of everything. Well, hey, the price of everything is going up and minimum wage is still the same. So what happened there? Like, well, if we
Right.
increase minimum wage, it's going to go up even more. Okay. I mean, it's so one of those things where we have to look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, I think more to follow on that, but I don't know if we need to cover it in Section 6. Is what
No,
I'm
no, I
thinking.
don't think that that's in this particular section. But so that's just the first part. That's the first sentence, and that's a pretty big thing. You would think that with two paragraphs, we don't have a lot of stuff in here. The next one is a pretty. Are we good on this? Do we? I think we're okay with this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So to come back and maybe revisit. Let's talk about revisit Congress pay by law. Maybe that's something that we need to revisit and look at that and see how that goes. And then what was the? Okay, so the next thing. They
shall in
shall
all
in
cases.
what was that?
I was going to read it since you were taking too
Oh
long.
well, fine. Go ahead. Read it. You read it.
They shall in all cases except treason, felony, and breach of peace be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses and in going and returning from the same. And for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. I mean, I think that's incredibly powerful. If you're basically protecting them from being bought, not bought, but being intimidated, being or at least you're trying to. I don't know if it actually covers everything. I think
Exactly. So they
there's
can't
plenty.
be, in all cases, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses and in going to and returning from the same For any speech or debate in either house, they should not be questioned in any other place. So essentially, I'm gonna say it, Josh. They're creating a safe space in the.
Yeah.
It's terrible. They've created a safe space. Yeah, I can't hear you, bud. You're cutting out, man.
Can you hear me better?
Better. It's getting
Yeah.
better. It's coming back.
Like I said, I think it's just my ISP. I don't know if there's anything I'm gonna be able to do about this.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, no, they've essentially created a safe space in the House and in the Senate floor. That's what they've done. You can't be delayed from going there. You can't be detained from going to or from or during anything at the House, any speech, debate, or anything in either house. And you can't be. And I think that this is a key thing at the end here. They shall not be questioned in any other place for any speech or debate in either house.
Yeah.
So
So
you-
they have freedom of speech within that, the aspect of doing their job.
Correct. They can't be arrested after they give a speech for saying something in their debate or in their speech that may or may not be unlawful unless it's treasonous, felonious, or a breach of the peace. Right?
Right.
Simple. I don't have a problem with that. I think that is necessary, and it's good that it's in there. We don't
Agreed.
we don't want our representatives to be, held for unnecessary things or something that somebody doesn't like.
Yeah. For to be harassed and intimidated into changing their mind, changing their ideas about, any given subject.
Correct. I agree. So
So
the next part here, I think we're good. So the first two, we're good with both of those sentences there. This is an interesting one. No senator or representative shall, during the time for which he was elected, be appointed to any civil office under the authority of the United States, which shall have been created, or the emoluments whereof shall have been increased during such time. Do you understand what that means?
I'm lost on emoluments.
So that's pay.
So
That's essentially
say
pay.
that
Yeah, emoluments
Okay.
is pay. So
so
no senator or
so you can't,
representative.
you can't be given like some sort of civil job and then have the and be paid. It's basically trying to prevent bribery through civil service.
To an
Or
extent.
stop bribery.
So this is funny where this comes from. This actually comes from the reason that this is in here is because of Parliament in England, which you wouldn't think. You'd be like, what the hell does that got to do with it? So if we go to our interpretations here and we look at, so it's the incompatibility clause is what it's called. All right. And it's an ethics rule, essentially, because what it was in 18th century, British monarchs had bribed their way to control over the House of Commons by offering members of the House lucrative executive offices to secure members' votes on issues important to the king. The framers of the U.S. Constitution were repulsed by this, and so they added the incompatibility clause to the Constitution as an ethics rule to prevent such corruption in the U.S. An unintended consequence was that it empowered the president greatly by making it unconstitutional for members of Congress to demand cabinet appointments. So you can't be a member of Congress and be appointed to another
position.
position. But also where, let's see, so the other part, and I think, see if I'm wrong here. Yeah, and this is the other. And no person holding any office in the United States shall be a member of either house during his continuance in office. So that's it's a whole thing. The first part is if you are a senator or you're a congressperson, and if there is a position that is created while you are part of Congress, a position created, or the emoluments whereof shall have been increased during such time. So if the pay was increased for a position or the position was created while you were in Congress, you cannot be appointed. A senator representative during the time for which he was elected be appointed to any office, any civil office under the authority of the United States. So any governmental position that was created while you were in the Senate or the House of Representatives, you can't be appointed to, and or if the pay was raised, you can't be appointed to it while you were in Congress. So it's actually happened a couple times, if you can believe that.
What? People are skirting the rules?
No, 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 no. No, I'm saying it came in. It came in play. So, and this is a general thing. The ineligibility clause is a simple ethics rule preventing members of Congress from increasing the salary of an executive office and then soliciting the president to appoint them to that office so they can benefit from the salary increase they voted for. Make sense? Hey, we're going to increase the salary of this position. Hey, president, I'll take it. Yeah, no.
Yeah. I'm perfect for that job.
Yeah. So this has happened. It happened with Nixon. First time it came up, whether he could appoint a senator to be his attorney general, even though Congress had raised that office salary while he was a senator. So the salary was rolled back to its original level, and then he did, in fact, take office. So essentially, they took the pay raise away from him while he was in office, but he still took that office. But it came up again in 1987 when Reagan was considering whether he should appoint Orrin Hatch to the Supreme Court, even though the justices' salaries had been raised while Hatch was a senator. The Office of Legal Counsel and the Department of Justice issued opinion declaring that the Saxby fix would not render the appointment constitutional, meaning that Reagan couldn't appoint Hatch to the Supreme Court.
But didn't he end up on the Supreme Court anyways?
Do what?
At some point. Did Orrin Hatch, I know that name. Like, didn't he end up on the Supreme Court anyways? Or did he? No, or he ended up being like a really long-term senator, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't be appointed. More recently, though, the same office at the Justice Department reached the opposite conclusion, clearing the way for President Barack Obama to appoint Hillary Clinton to be the Secretary of State, despite the fact that the Secretary's salary had been increased during her tenure in the Senate. So that's the pay part. The second part is what I was talking about before, the incompatibility clause. No person holding any office under the United States shall be a member of either house during his continuance in office. So they're saying that senators and representatives can't hold any other office, which is really interesting because there's no clause in the Constitution that prevents any other branch of government from any personnel from other branches of government to hold two offices. So they actually had this. It's a separation of powers and a separation of personnel. So essentially, a congressman can't be appointed to like the FCC or the Department of Education or the whatever. They can't hold two positions. They can't be a senator, representative, and something else. But this is interesting. Let me find it here. So they had judicial members though, that have done it. Here it is. So there's no clause for the executive or judicial officers, and judges have actually held executive branch positions. Chief Justice John Jay was a Great Britain ambassador. Chief Justice John Marshall served as the Secretary of State and Chief Justice. Robert Jackson was the chief allied prosecutor of the Nazis during the Nuremberg trials. And Chief Justice Earl Warren serves as the head of the executive branch commission, the Warren Commission, which investigated the assassination of JFK. So, but this is the funny thing. Since then, since the Warren Commission, since that time, the ABA, American Bar Association, has frowned upon it, and there have not been any other appointments since then. The judges have stayed in the judicial branch, and then Congress has stayed in the legislative branch. There hasn't been a mix since the Warren Commission, which is interesting. But there's nothing in the Constitution that prevents judges from holding appointed positions.
Yeah, so I guess the question becomes: do you want to? Is that something that you go over in Article 3?
Well, I mean, yeah, that would be something that we would look at in a different article of should we. So should clause be extended to other branches?
Yeah, and I guess the other thing I'm wondering about right now is, since we're talking about corruption, and that seems to be a lot of what this article is attempting to prevent. Do we look at it in a broader light, or in a different way, or adding something, or changing something? But then I also think, like, there's other stuff that we're doing, like as far as voting and different things, where, like, I guess the idea is that, hey, do we want to somehow legislate civic virtue in this clause? And
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way to, though.
right,
That's
and that's kind of the conclusion I'm coming to in my head as well, is that, do you sit there and put in every single guardrail that you can possibly think of, or do you, or with the broad strokes that we're doing, and the stuff that we're talking about, do you leave those in place and just hope that most people are going to act in a civically minded fashion, and you use common sense and act accordingly? Because I'm with you. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can legislate corruption out of the system.
that's
Can
the
you?
unfortunate part. I mean, you could do this from the incompatibility standpoint. And you try to put other stuff. Can't accept bribes or monies or whatever from foreign things. You can put all of this stuff into the Constitution or whatever document you want, whatever law you want to put it into. It doesn't mean people are going to follow it.
Yeah.
I mean, then that's the hardest part about this. You could put it in here. Hey, you're supposed to be doing this for the betterment of general welfare. Who's to say what that is? Whether it's the general welfare of the whole people. Okay, well, what is the whole people? Is that 51% of the people? 2% of the people? 77%? What is what's that number to where it's okay? Well, that's the better for enough people.
Yeah.
So that was section 6. Usually what we do is we will go through the conservative, the libertarian, and the progressive constitutions that were created by the National Constitution Center, just to kind of see what kind of take they had on this. And I'm going to start with the progressive one, and we'll go back and we'll finish with the conservative one. So the progressive constitution, let me find it here. The rights and disabilities of members doesn't change anything. Leaves that in place. Everything there is the same. There's no change whatsoever. Seems appropriate, right? I
Yeah,
don't know
agreed.
that there really is much to change. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of what it is. Um, Libertarian, you thinking that they're going to have any changes on there?
I thought you just said the. Oh, that was a progressive. The libertarian one.
Yeah, you think
I mean,
that
I'm guessing. I like if I had to take a guess, I'd say it's going to be kind of the same thing, but except we mean it. You know.
well, they did no changes to Section 6 either.
Okay.
So the progressive and the libertarian constitution was there is no changes to Section 6. They both think that it's a good deal, right? And I'm on the same page with them. I don't think that there's anything that necessarily needs to be changed in there or added. I think it's good. Like you said, maybe there's some other ethical things that we could come up with, or something to try to put more guardrails. What they are, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Um, maybe we'll have to take a look and see if there's anything, like you said, from the ethical standpoint or the civic responsibility, civic virtue side that we can add in there. But I think maybe the biggest thing is going to be the pay, senators'
Yeah.
pay. But we have the 27th amendment for that. So then we come to you have anything to add before we jump into the conservative one?
No. I do not.
All right. So the conservative constitution. So I'm not going to say they go off the rails, but they kind of go off the rails here, starting at Section 6, right? Section 5, they added a bunch of stuff into Section 5 regarding, I think it was, they added, I can't remember what it was, the bills or something like that. They added quite a bit in Section 5 that we discussed last week. Section 6 is it's not even about what we just talked about. Their Section 6 that they created is all about impeachment. It's 100% about impeachment. It doesn't include any of the text of the original Constitution, Section 6. It's a completely different section. They felt that they needed to add the impeachment, a whole section based on impeachment, whereas in the original Constitution, there are, I want to say, 2 lines, maybe 3 lines about impeachment. Okay? In Section 2, the House of Representatives, you have, they shall choose their speaker and other officers and shall have sole power of impeachment. That is literally the only thing that says impeachment about the House. That's it. They have the sole power of impeachment. That is from the House of Representatives. That's it. Okay? So you have that one half a line there. And then in Section 3 under the Senate, you have a little bit more. You have 2 paragraphs. The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be on oath of affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside. No person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of its members present. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to the removal of office, disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States, but the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. So, basically saying that the Senate can try the impeachment, and the only power that they have is to remove them from office and prevent them from holding any other office. If the person has any type of felony or whatever, they would have to be tried according to law. The Senate cannot convict based on anything like that. The only thing they can do is remove person from office. So that is what we have in the Constitution about impeachment. The conservative, and you'll notice here, the conservative Section 6 has a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. So what they have here President, Vice President, and judges of the Supreme Court, inferior courts, and all principal officers of the United States shall be subject to impeachment and removal for serious crimes, serious criminal acts, and for gross abuses of the public trust. So they actually say why they can be impeached, which is a little concerning, because I don't believe that there's anything in the original Constitution that constitutes a reason. Shall have the sole power of impeachment. It doesn't give a reason why people can be impeached that I'm aware of. It just says that the House can impeach and the Senate can try. That's it. It doesn't give reasons that people can be impeached. It doesn't give, other than being removed from office, there's no consequence. So that as long as the House can come together on a reason to impeach someone, and the Senate feels like they can try, and this person is guilty of whatever that impeachment is, they can impeach him and remove him for office.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason for that. At least in my head, it because if you can get 3/5 of the of the House of Representatives to agree
It's,
that hey,
no. It's just majority. House of Representatives is just majority. It doesn't say anything in the Constitution about what they need to have. So that's where sole power of impeachment. All they need is a majority, simple majority, as far as I'm aware right now. There's nothing that says that they can't.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of putting in the reasons why people can be impeached. I mean, the House of Representatives and the Senate is supposed to govern themselves, and not only that, they're also saying that they have they also have power to impeach other offices and other branches of the government. And I think that should lie with, at the end of the day, that should lie with the legislative body, in the sense that, okay, if my people think, that I'm representing, think that this person is doing society and government a disservice, and then we should have them removed from office. I agree with that. But actually stating the reasons as to why, and you're limiting yourself at the same time, right? As to what a person can be impeached for, and that can look, and what people believe is what wording do they use? The
For serious criminal acts.
gross abuses. And can we even agree on what's a gross abuse? Like, can we come to that come to that agreement together? And because you ask one person, you poll one person and say, hey, was this a gross abuse? And one person will say no, and one person will say yes.
Yep.
And so it's like, yeah, that's
It's
just
no,
a
it's
little
tough.
odd. Yeah.
It's tough. It's just like, in the other part where they put the thing about the voting rights, all qualified voters.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
and yeah, we struggled with that, and decided that it shouldn't, qualified should not be there. I
yeah.
mean,
Well, they put here, if you're 18 years of age or older and not currently serving a sentence for commission of a felony, you shall be entitled to vote. But then it says down here, the right of all qualified voters. Well, it doesn't say what a qualified voter is, it just says these are entitled.
yeah.
So when you're looking at something like this, serious criminal acts. What's a serious criminal act? Is that a felony,
Yeah, and
misdemeanor? Like, is it, are we talking first degree? We talking like what are we talking? What's a serious criminal act?
yeah, well, and not only that, but like you look at the way that society has changed over the last 20 or 25 years with social media and everybody online, data mining, and data security and stuff like that. The idea of what's a gross misconduct is going to completely change in 50 years. it's going to look the landscape is the way that it's changing at the pace that it is. It's not going to be the same thing. And so if you qualify what those things are, they're not going to be the same. And
Exactly.
it should be left to the legislative body to decide. Okay, is this something that that we feel like that this person should be removed from office from? And it should just land with them, and they get to decide. And I guess if they want if they all get together and decide they want to get this person out for one reason or another, and they can all come to that agreement. I guess it is what it is, and then you go back to the voters if it when it's time, and then they vote you out because um, you acted outside of civic virtue. I mean, that would be the goal, anyways, of how the system should work.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, actually putting in more rules and different things in place for that, I don't.
Well, that's the
I Yeah, you're going down a bad road in my head.
no, and I agree. I mean, what's a gross abuse of the public trust? I mean, how many how many ways can we use that in the past 6 months?
Right.
Like, I mean, there's so many reasons why. I mean, that's a very wide open term.
Yeah.
So I would leave it again to, and this is what you get a lot of is you get a lot of people saying, as things are done, well, isn't that an impeachable? Isn't that impeachable? Isn't what this person is doing an impeachable offense? Isn't wearing a tan suit an impeachable offense?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason for someone to do that, so we should impeach them. The thing you have about that is you're going to need to not only are you going to need to get the people from the House, but also from the Senate. Like you're going to have to
Yeah.
get. I mean, the Senate is two. So it specifically states in here. Where is it? 2/3. 2/3 of the Senate has to convict. So it doesn't give a number of people for the House for impeachment, but it does
Yeah.
say 2/3 of the Senate. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think as far as this changes, I like the idea of setting a little bit higher bar in the House of Representatives as far as to actually impeach someone. But I don't think I would change anything else, like or making the language more specific. Other than that, because you look at the past and the past 5-10 years and the dog and pony shows
Yeah.
that impeachments have ended up being,
Yeah.
and and where you trot out all this person's dirty laundry for better or for worse,
Yep.
and then and you basically hamstring the country during that time because they're going through the impeachment and they're
Not
you
doing
got the
anything.
House of Representatives. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not doing their job.
Exactly.
Like, and so like if you know that you can't get the votes, like why, or that you can't get it out of committee, the idea of impeachment, like, and there should be a higher bar for that,
Yeah.
I think as well.
I agree.
Um,
I agree on that. Let's see what else
I
they
don't.
say.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Were you going to finish that thought?
but making the language more specific and actually classifying what's an impeachable offense,
Yeah.
you're headed down bad.
I agree. I agree. I do like the fact that they say everyone, all principal officers shall be subject to impeachment and removal. I like that. House of Representatives shall have the sole power to impeach by a vote of 3/5 of the members present.
What's your concern there? I think I know it might be, but I'm curious.
I don't know if I like that wording. Of the members, 3/5 of the members present.
Yeah.
So
Well,
if you
because
only have like the House of Representatives has 435 people, I mean, if you have to be enough for the simple majority, that's 235, 36. Is it somewhere in there?
Two,
225,
218.
218.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Okay.
because because 217 would be 434.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so, and then
two
218 would be 436. So yeah,
divided by five
it's 218.
times three.
Oh,
So
no, I'm talking majority. Sorry, you're probably right.
I'm so confused now. Okay. A simple
Sorry.
majority is it's
I'll put it
435.
out
There's
there.
435, right?
Yeah,
Divided by two. Yeah, you had it right. 217. So
for
218.
yeah for a simple majority is 218.
So 218 divided by 5 gives you 40 whatever times 3. So 131 people. If you only have a simple majority there, 131 people can, that's 3/5 of the members present if you go by how this is written. Now, if you have to do if you have to do it from the way it is now, you need a simple majority. You would need 218. So this is actually the way that this is written in my eyes, and I'm sure that it could be interpreted. It's easier to impeach.
Hmm.
Now, I don't think that this
Because
is the way they intended it. I think that they meant 3/5 of the members, or maybe they didn't, but 3/5 of the members. So 435 was that 435 divided by 5, 87 times 3. So they're 261, which is more than a simple majority. So they're saying you'd have to have 261 votes to impeach.
you're saying because it has the word present in it that you could basically and what do they need for a quorum?
They need 218 for a quorum. They need a simple
Okay, so
majority.
if you barred half the members of Congress from entering, you could technically impeach with 131 people.
Correct.
If you somehow figured that out a way to do that.
Yep. Yep. So that's
Yeah.
that's one thing. The wording is everything because if the way it's scrutinized now, I mean, you gotta look at this stuff. If you're saying that 3/5 of the members present, all you got to do is just lock out, anybody over your simple majority, and then it's really easy. So I would, I mean, I think that 3/5 is a better than a simple majority to impeach. So you're upping the bar for the regular impeachment. So you can't push something through. I think that, and if
Yeah.
if you talk about the way that that we talked about before, if we're changing the way we're doing this, um, I mean, even if you go from the aspect of if we up the number of representatives from 435 to something else, I mean, that's gonna. But I like 3/5.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if Congress stays fairly bipartisan through, if we were to make all these other changes and
Yeah.
it somehow survived that way, then at least you have to get somebody from the other side that's like, yeah, you guys are right. This is messed up. We need to, and well, you have to get quite a few people, especially the way that the House swings back and forth, and no,
Yep.
even a bipartisan thing, it very very rarely swings one way or the other, where one side of the aisle has 3/5 of the votes on any given day, and so hopefully you take part that will allow for partisanship to be removed from the impeachment process,
You would hope.
to a certain.
Yeah, you would hope. Um, let's see. Which shall be conveyed to the Senate immediately upon adoption. Okay, yeah. The Senate shall have the sole power to try, shall convict on votes of 3/5. So right now it's 2/3, which is about 67, I think. 2/3 of 167. and then it changes to 3/5, which is just 60.
Hmm.
So I mean, do you lower it to 3/5 in both, or do you leave the 2/3? This is for conviction
Right.
to remove. Like I mean, you have a lot of that going on now, and like you said before, we've not had a single person that has been convicted in the Senate. It's never happened. There's been many impeachments, no convictions.
You're, you're accusing somebody of a serious crime. At the end of the day, should there be so I guess I'm asking myself the question of should the bar be that high, or do you lower it and make it 60?
Yeah, if you
You know,
raise the bar in the House of Representatives for the impeachment, um, to be able to pass an impeachment to the Senate, do you lower the bar in the Senate to convict, or do you keep it the same?
hmm, I don't. The idea of lowering the number for conviction, like I'm trying to work this out in my head.
So
And
I mean, the only person that's come the closest to actually being convicted is Jackson. He was one vote away, if I'm not mistaken.
and I mean, looking at some of the things that he did and the decisions that he made, I do often kind of wonder, like, should he have been impeached? What, like, was he,
I
you know,
mean, what did he really do? I mean, he just freed up some land so that we could settle it, and I mean, he kind of make things easier for some people. Did he really do anything bad? I mean,
for his people, perhaps, you know,
I mean,
for
there was some water that was laid on a trail somewhere. I don't know. I mean, it was a little salty, but I mean,
oh
who,
my God.
who, I mean, who really cared at that point, right? I
I,
mean,
I was going to ask you if you do you really want to finish that sentence? Like,
well,
let's go into
obviously
another
enough
one
people
real quick.
didn't care because he didn't
Yeah.
get. I don't even was that even the reason that was he was.
I'm sure it was for something else, man. I don't know if it was for that specifically. But he ran roughshod over pretty much everybody to get done with what he wanted to get done.
Correct.
I mean, and in in today's political climate, I find some very strong similarities with him and our current administration. And I mean, it's interesting in the sense that like what you get taught in at least what I got taught in grade school and in high school is that Jackson was a great president. He got did all these amazing things and all this different stuff. But if you really look, and I'm not saying that he didn't. Well, I guess the question I'm asking myself now, looking back on it with a different perspective, is do the ends justify the means? And the conclusion that I'm coming to is that no, they do not. Um, and I don't know. I don't know if the ends that if the ends ever justify the means. I don't know if that. I don't know if that state for me at least. I don't know
Okay.
if that statement ever holds up. Like
Okay. So wait. I just real quick. I just want to say I was wrong. I was talking about presidents. There's not been a president has not been removed from office because of impeachment.
right.
There have been other people that have been removed for other reasons. A lot of it because of bribery.
Whoopsie.
Oh, Jackson. It wasn't Jackson. It was Johnson. See, I don't even too many Andrew Johnson violating the Tenure of Office Act. The Tenure of Office Act that had been acquitted in
It
favor of
was
convicted of failing to vote short one vote.
unconstitutional.
Do what?
Well, they declared the Tenure Act unconstitutional.
Correct.
Is what ended up happening.
Restrict the power of the president to remove certain office holders without approval of the U.S. Senate. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sorry, it wasn't
Yeah,
Jackson.
so that was right after the Civil War,
Yes.
and
Yep.
I think there was some other. Uh,
Other things. Yeah.
yeah, there was a lot of political games being played at that time. And
Oh yeah,
they
there
were
was a
still trying to
ton.
figure out like how to bring the country back together and
Oh
not
yeah.
kill each other. Um, but my argument still like I still have the same argument whether or not Jackson was impeached and whether he should have been or shouldn't have been. That's whatever. But maybe you do lower the bar in the Senate, and especially and again maybe I'm looking at the current political climate and I don't have a good I I've got some bias here,
Yeah.
uh, where it's like where you're looking at this person that is basically saying, hey, I'm going to do whatever I want for the next 4 years, and y'all are just going to take it. Um, and that changes on a whim, at any given moment, whichever way the wind is blowing that day,
Yeah.
and that there is no path to it. At least it seems to me to stop that person or to even slow them down. Um, and that gives me pause as
Yeah.
far as, okay, well, what's the bar to getting this person
And
to it?
that's the question is, do you make it harder to bring the articles up and easier to convict, or do you keep them both, or do you make it harder to make it easier to bring them up and leave it harder to convict?
Yeah. So if you think about it, the House of Representatives is kind of like the grand jury. That's kind of the way I look at this. It's like, okay, do we have enough evidence to have a trial?
Yep.
Yes or no? And thinking about it from that perspective, it's like there should be a lower bar for that. Not saying like I'm just thinking about it in this perspective. But the problem with that is that there's a difference between a closed grand jury hearing where I don't think reporters are allowed in, and there's ways that the evidence is handled. Whereas what goes on in the House of Representatives is everyone, like all the dirty laundry gets aired, and and everybody's pointing fingers, and and it throws to a certain extent, it throws the country into chaos.
Yeah.
And there's a cost for that, and I think because that cost is higher, there should be a higher bar set for that. Either that or the impeachment stuff has to be done in secrecy, like and nothing comes out of those hearings, and it's all closed doors. And if they impeach, they impeach, and nothing comes out of that. And if they don't, nobody hears about it. Like it doesn't get reported on.
So you get rid of the show from the dog and pony.
That yeah, and then you lower the bar in the you get
Do you
rid of
tell
the you do get rid of the dog and pony show. I think so because
No, you still have the dog and the pony. You just don't have the show anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and because honestly, I feel like at least with the last two impeachments, that's all they were. That like it was just a way for one side of the political aisle to point at the other person. Look at all this stuff that he's doing wrong. Like look at what a terrible person he is. And they didn't actually, because they knew they weren't gonna get the votes in the Senate.
Correct.
Like, and they did it anyways.
Yeah.
And they did it because because they could put all this stuff out there, and they could frame a narrative, and they could weave a story
Use that
that
later.
they thought would make them be in a better light. So maybe you
Yeah.
take that part away, and you don't give them that outlet.
Well, I mean, but it makes for great TV and gets ratings, man.
Disagree with that. And great memes, great
Yeah.
memes.
All right. Well, I mean, and that's the, do the people have the right to know? But
I think
this goes back to the your civil virtue.
yeah, civic virtue.
I mean, it used to be you didn't have a bunch of political ads slandering their people's opponents. Like you know, it was, people were quote unquote above board and running off of what they were going to do, not trashing their opponent on, what they were doing. But you tried to make yourself better than them, and I think that's. I mean, it's just like what you, in all honesty. I mean, if you look at it right now, with the current turmoil that we're going through from the shutdown, you have one side saying, the other side is the reason why people aren't getting fed. They're the reason why this isn't happening, and you need to tell them that they need to get their act together because it's all their fault. And it's like, okay, so what you're saying is you have no responsibility whatsoever to this. It's
Yeah.
all,
Yeah, really, the frame is every single one of you is the problem.
yeah,
And we talked about this last week, and how we try to get around that. And yeah, I think that people have a right to know. And even as I'm thinking this out, this little thought experiment out in my head, the goal would still be the same, right? So if you opened up the Senate hearing, the actual trial, there, like if you have that mindset of, oh, hey, we just need to get this out in the open so we can spin a story, they'll do the impeachment in private and in secret, and then they'll get it, and then it'll go to the Senate, knowing that they can't convict, and all that information will come out anyways, and then we'll all get thrown into turmoil again, and then we're back in the churn. It just happens in a different legislative body than before. So maybe the 3/5 is the catch in the House, anyways. The only thing and so maybe you just make it 3/5 for both of them. I don't know.
yeah. And it's one of the things that you're not going to get away from. Like if they have the ability to bring something to the floor, people got to discuss it. So,
Yeah.
and the only thing about not being televised or not using the journal or so to say, what they say in the Constitution is, was it in 5? I think it was in 5, right?
Yeah, you're in 4 right now. Yeah, powers and duties of Congress. I think the journal was in
Right
there.
here. Each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings, from time to time publish the same, excepting such parts as may in their judgment require secrecy. So, and that now you got what, C-SPAN, that's like 24/7 coverage of the floor and what's going on there. So, you're giving a
Doing that in real
platform.
Yeah.
You're giving a platform for, it it almost feels like sometimes that you're giving a platform to people that are in a reality TV show.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm watching Big Brother or Survivor, or oh, is this person going to get voted off the island? Well, they were talking to this person and they said this, and it's like, what is going on? Well, here's the tweet from 6 months ago.
Well, and then you get influencers and all of this content created around it. That's like, oh, they're breaking apart everything that somebody is saying during this. Like, and with like that always amazes me with reality TV shows that people are going to spend that much time, like, uh, like
Hmm.
analyzing what somebody is doing on a show or even on C-SPAN or in Congress. You know that you're going to break that apart to that extent.
I mean, you take a look at it. I know when I was growing up, you never really heard anything about government.
Yeah.
Like the first time, like you would hear about the presidential elections. Um, you would if there was a war, if there was something, but when the president was on TV, he was doing some sort of announcement or something like that. Like that was a big deal. Like it was a big deal to
Right.
see the president on TV talking about something. Like it wasn't thing to be taken lightly. Like it was something like, okay, well, why is this person holding a press conference to address the people? And now what you have, you're literally every day you get to see, yeah, you get to see more and more every day of nothing.
Yeah, just dumb stuff.
And
Like,
don't get me wrong, I'm glad it's being captured. I'm glad it's being quote unquote archived, or you have better. You're watching it. You can see the things that are actually happening. It's being recorded in history to an extent, and you can actually, like, when you look at other periods in history, you don't have a lot. You just have, like, when the forefathers were doing their thing. You didn't see how they were. You could read about how they were talking, how they would talk to each other. You can read about, but you didn't see video. You didn't see videos of the voting. You didn't see, the division and how people were, actually fighting with each other and all of that stuff. We can make it up, but we don't necessarily have the day to day blow by blow, like how everything got started. And nowadays everything is out there. There's so much information that you can pull from it. So I don't know that making it secret, or like people's gonna parade their dog around in one way or another. If you keep any type of impeachment, quote unquote secret, as it's going through the House, so that you don't have all of that stuff out. I mean, nowadays people are going to go and post on social media and say, "Well, this is what happened," and then you don't get to actually hear what happened. You get
yeah.
you get the interpreted version of what people, someone thought someone said. So
Yeah.
I'm almost. I
I
mean,
think, I think it's like three fifths and three fifths, and you hope for the best, and you hope all the other stuff that we're talking about, and all the other guardrails that we're putting in place that are gonna somehow make a difference. Uh,
that would be great. I mean, so this is what we're. Let's see. So 3/5 when the president or the vice president is tried, chief justice. Yeah, that's the same. House, upon passage, initiating impeachment inquiry by majority members. This gives them the right to call witnesses, summon witnesses, call for papers subject to privileges grounded in this Constitution. Any refusal may be prosecuted in federal court. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to the removal of office. This is the same thing that's in the other one. So essentially, there's
yeah,
section 6,
they didn't really change a whole lot other than they
three
they
fifths, three
they took
fifths.
stuff from other places,
Yep.
yeah, and put it all in one section.
Well, this is, yeah. So they took all the impeachment, but in my infinite wisdom, I went and looked at section 7.
Oh, so they put in a section about pay.
Shall receive compensation for their services to be ascertained by law and paid out of the treasury. No law varying the compensation for services. They essentially added the 27th Amendment, or 20, was it 27? 20, I don't know. Whatever the amendment was. Shall take effect until election have intervened. All investments made or sources of income received by any senator represented from any source other than the Treasury of the United States shall be publicly disclosed. Senators and representatives shall, in all cases except for treason, be privileged from arrest during their attendance in session with their respective houses, going and returning from the same, or for any speech. So they added the 27th. It's the 27th, isn't it? Is it the 27th?
The
Oops.
27th Amendment, yes.
27th. I think that's the one it was. So the 27th Amendment is what is regarding to their pay, and so they added that into Section 7. And then and I was saying that they kind of go off the rails because they, like Section 8 is completely different, and the powers of Congress is Section 8. Like they
Yeah.
every like 9, the Congress shall have power. They have 10, Board of Treasury with 1 member, like a whole other thing, and then they have 12 and 13. So we're gonna have to look at the conservative Constitution a little gingerly over the next couple sections, because they added a bunch of stuff, and we'll have to take all of that into account and look at what they're adding and doing all of that. But what do we do with the impeachment stuff? Like, do we go back and do we revise, or do we put revisions in Section 2 and 3, or do you take those out and create a whole section about impeachment?
Because the only thing I want to add is the 3/5,
Yeah.
and then change. Yeah, so I don't think that requires its own section. Just
Okay,
I
so
think you just
we're looking, we're going up to Section 2. Let's see. So we're gonna do impeachment is 3/5 members. Impeachment. Needs 3/5 members, and then we go to the Senate here. It's 2/3. Impeachment conviction is 3/5 versus 2/3.
yeah.
So we take that whole Section 6 that they created, we put it back in the other 2 sections. I don't see a problem with that. I think that they did a pretty good job in those. The only, like, it just says impeachment. It doesn't say who can be impeached, which this one notates who can be impeached. And it gives the reason for impeachment, which I don't think we need that. 3/5, 3/5, and then I think all of this, this is all part of the other. Okay. All right. So that's Section 6. So I guess we could talk about the guardrails. What are we even looking at from that perspective of civil virtue? What
Civic virtue.
civic virtue? Sorry. What are we even looking at from that perspective of making? How do you even create those guardrails?
Do you talk about bribery? Do you talk about campaign finances? Do you? Because that's in my head. That's really what all this comes down to. Is this the section to do it in? Where, you know,
Um,
or even stuff like the stock market. Talking about options and futures and investments that
so
people can make.
so this is the part, and this is in Section 9, powers denied Congress. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without consent of Congress, accept any present emolument, office, or title any kind whatsoever from any king, prince, or foreign state. So
I think you would have to expand that to like any person, any business, any corporation, any like, and within the United States. But we can talk about it in section 9. I mean,
no,
if
no,
this stuff,
I'm saying like this is the part that is often quoted when it comes to the reasons, like for impeachment.
yeah. So,
Like if we like a
but
lot
I
of it
mean,
is
that's very
bribery.
specific. That you can't take any foreign monies.
Yeah, but the president, vice president. So Article 2, Section 4. President, vice president, all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for the conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. So that's specifically for the president, vice president, and all civil officers.
So, like the cabinet,
Yeah,
is that what that includes?
but it doesn't define high crimes or misdemeanors, because I mean, you know,
Yeah.
so where is there it is federal impeachment? Looking at the reasons people were impeached. That's what I wanted to see here. Okay, so let's see. Accusations conspiring assist Britain in capturing Spanish territory. Drunkenness and unlawful rulings from a judge. Political bias and arbitrary rulings promoting a partisan political agenda on the bench. Was acquitted. Abuse of power, acquitted. Supporting the Confederacy, unanimous, convicted and removed and disqualified. Let's see. Here you go. A judge, District of Kansas, drunkenness. Hey, you can be removed from office because of drunkenness. See, Secretary of War resigned just before the impeachment vote. Graft corruption. Failure to live in his district, abuse of power for this judge. Justice, improper acceptance of gifts from litigants and attorneys. A judge, abuse of power. Judge, corruption. Judge. Champerty, our doctrines of conduct, bearing hold of quarrels, sides, corruption, tax evasion, practicing law while a judge, tax evasion, accepting a bribe, committing perjury. Clinton was hit for perjury and obstruction.
Yeah.
Kent, sexual assault, obstruction of justice during the resulting investigation. He resigned. Let's see, a judge making false financial disclosures, corruption, convicted and removed. And then these are the, that's the House vote margin. Wow. Man, that guy, he got it. That was unanimous all the way down. Same way with Kent. Let's see, president, abuse of power, obstruction of Congress, incitement of insurrection, failure to comply with federal immigration laws, and breach of public trust. Yeah. So, I mean, as far as the reasons, I don't know how do you put that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if you really put this put that stuff in there. And I think you just have to qualify I guess the bribery portion of it. And like I said, I don't know if this is the section for it or not.
Well, I mean, hey, if they can go and they can redo the Constitution and create all new sections and do whatever, I mean, we can. But
Yeah,
what would be the in this particular section, if we're trying to stay true to what it is, rights and disabilities of members. So, I mean, the rights being that they get paid by the government and they can't be detained.
yeah,
So, and then the disabilities are you can't be appointed to an office that you created or gave a raise to, and you can't hold any other office while you're a member.
yeah. And I think that covers it. It's all fair, but like I said, it, the second statement in the uh, you know, with the emoluments, the idea that a person that can be bribed with a position and a salary, right?
Yeah,
And I
which is
think maybe,
saying essentially you can't do it
and I think I don't know,
because that's what they did
and
in England. You know,
yeah,
a
and,
parliament member.
and they are specifically talking about compensation and stuff like that, and so maybe this isn't the section where you kind of outline bribery and because section 9 has some stuff included in there, and then
Yeah,
maybe we go over it then and just uh worry about it later, because I feel like if we expand that, then we're kind of changing the spirit of what section 6 is really about. It's almost like we're going off on a tangent.
yeah. I I wonder. I mean, I wouldn't mind adding the 27th Amendment to this, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I think that that makes sense considering you're saying they shall receive compensation for their services to be ascertained by law, paid out of the Treasury of the United States. Adding the 27th Amendment, I think, is appropriate. Putting that in
Yeah.
this section makes sense to me.
Yeah. Agreed.
27th, 27th Amendment, and that is it states no law varying the compensation for the members can take effect until the election of the representatives has intervened. That's crazy. It was originally proposed in 1789
And wasn't ratified until 1992.
until 1992 after a long multi-year effort by a citizen. By a citizen. That's funny.
That's wild. That something that just seems so common sense.
Oh yeah, you would think.
I guess therein lies the problem
Yep.
of human nature. That people are going to act so far in their own self-interest rather than do what I would, and I think what most people would consider, do what's moral.
You would think. Wait a second now. The United States, any law that increases or decreases the salary of members of Congress may only take effect after the next election of the House of Representatives. So that's 2 years because the next election, the House of Representatives is every 2 years, right?
Yes, in its current state, we would change that to 4, right?
First Congress submitted the amendment to the states along with 11 other proposed amendments, Articles 1 through 12. Okay, so there were two. So the last 10 were the Bill of Rights. The first two, the 27th Amendment and the proposed Congressional Apportionment Amendment, were not ratified. Okay, congressional apportionment. This has to do with the Article the first. Number of seats in the House of Representatives. Okay. Okay, the first enumeration required by the first article, there should be one representative for every 30,000 until a number shall amount to 100, after which a proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall be not less than 100 representatives nor less than one representative for every 40,000 persons until the number of representatives shall be 200, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress. There shall not be less than 200 representatives nor more than one for every 50,000 persons. Interesting.
It's interesting. What are you thinking there?
Well, this is what we were talking about. This is what we were talking about in Section 2.
Yeah.
About the representation of the people, to where essentially this shall not be less than 200 representatives more than, but each state after the first year have at least 200 prior. Comparison of two versions. Yeah, so this was essentially about the amount for, the representatives. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time trying to wrap my head around.
So maybe we just take the parts from the 27th Amendment. We don't have to wrap the whole thing in, where it's talking about the.
Well, yeah,
the pay.
this is the other. Yeah, this is the congressional apportionment. But yeah, I think the 27th Amendment, we put that in there. And then we have the conservatives impeachment stuff. We take the 3/5 and put that up in the other sections where they belong.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I don't know that there's much more in this section that we need to talk about.
Killed it.
So you want to do section 7? But section 7's great. Can we play the video? Can we play the video, Josh? I want to play the video.
Okay, we can play the video.
Can we play the video?
But if I get a vote on whether we're doing Section 7 today, I'm gonna downvote that.
You're going to downvote that? Okay, wait a second.
Yeah.
You know what video I'm talking about, right?
Work on. No. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm excited. Like, I want to.
You don't know the video about Section 7? Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. What is it? It is the I'm Just a Bill.
Oh yeah, okay. I did. Yes, I know that video.
From Schoolhouse Rock.
Yes.
Oh, here in
yeah.
Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
Sad little
I do
scrap
know.
of paper.
Yes, I'm only
Aw.
a bill.
I'm only a bill sitting on Capitol Hill.
It's a long, long journey to the capital city.
Watched this in school quite a few times.
Exactly.
Sitting in committee, but
DC
I know
or
I'll be
bust.
a law someday. At least I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill.
Just a bill.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. When I started, I wasn't even a bill. I was just an idea. Some folks back home decided they wanted a law passed, so they called their local congressman, and he said, "You're right, there ought to be a law." Then he sat down and wrote me out and introduced me to Congress, and I became a bill. And I'll remain a bill until they decide to make me a law. I'm just a bill.
Just a
Yes,
bill.
I'm only a bill. And I got as far as Capitol Hill. Well, now I'm stuck in committee, and I'll sit here and wait while a few.
All right, something to look forward to.
I mean, we only got a minute
All right,
left.
let's
But this is section 7.
Listen to those congressmen arguing. Is all that discussion and debate about you?
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. Most bills never even get this far. I hope they decide to report on me favorably, otherwise I may die.
Oh no!
Yeah, die.
Don't die, Mr. Bill.
Why are those bills so bad?
Now I go to the House of Representatives and they
What are you
vote
saying?
If they vote yes, what
The,
happens?
yeah, did you see the other bills that were behind the?
Oh yeah, they don't even make it that far, you know.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And if they vote for me on Capitol Hill, well, then I'm off to the White House where I'll wait in a line with a lot of other bills for the president to sign. And if he signs me, then I'll be a law. How I hope and pray that he will. But today I am still just a bill.
Just the bill.
You mean even if the whole Congress says you should be a law, the president can still say no?
Yes, that's called a veto. If the president
Veto.
vetoes me, I have to go back to Congress and they vote on me again, and by that time you're so
By
old.
that time, it's very unlikely that you become a
The
law.
veto.
It's
Poor
not
Bill.
easy to become a law, is it?
No, but how I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill.
Just the bill.
You, Bill. Now you're a law. Oh, yes.
Look at
Maybe
that.
someday it'll be a law.
I mean, that is like the quintessential thing growing up was just a bill, and that is number 7. That is section 7, the legislative process. We just watched it in a short form video of 3 minutes. I mean, what more could you want, man? I just learned everything I need to know about section 7. We can skip over this now.
Okay. Section 8 is.
Section 8 it is. Here we come, baby. No. I mean, I don't know that there's going to be much to do about this. I mean, the bills have kind of been, yeah, you know. But anyways, I mean, this was a quick one. Do we got anything else that we need to talk about? Anything else we need to go over? I think section 5 or section 6. We still in last week. Sorry, section 6. I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right,
Like
man.
it.
Well, this is going to be a short one, only 2 hours long instead of our normal 3.5.
Right.
You know, I'm okay with that though. We will.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure that next week when we talk about the legislative process and we watch that video again, because, I mean, it's happening. You don't have a choice. It's happening again. Just so you know.
I guess you could watch something else. You always got a choice.
I don't-
rather you didn't.
I don't know that they have made a better. I don't know that they can top that.
Yeah, totally. Right.
Just the
There-
bill.
Nothing better out there. There's no content that could possibly.
I don't
compare.
think so. I don't think.
Just
Let's see. Schoolhouse Rock, just a bill. Competitors? I don't know. I'm just a bill. Conjunction Junction.
What's your function?
Conjunction Junction versus I'm just a bill.
Oh. Let's not.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just a bill. Parody, follow the money. No. Wait a second. 2025. I'm just one.
Oh, it's a parody.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that I'm just.
You might be right.
I don't think you can get any better of that. I don't know that there is a better explanation of what the legislative process is than I'm just a bill. I don't know. We'll see if we can top it next week. See if I
Yeah.
can explain it better than that. All right, let's we'll go back here. It was fun chatting today, everyone. Hopefully we didn't bore you too much. Letting everybody have a little more time today. Getting out of here early.
Yeah. And remember to be kind to each other, stay safe, and make good choices.
Yes, those are all things that everybody should do. Be kind, stay safe, and I don't remember what was the other one? I already forgot.
Make good choices.
Make good choices. Oh my goodness, how can I
Yeah.
forget the best one of them all? Make good choices, everyone. They don't have to be the right ones, just good ones. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we will see you next week. Same time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Otherwise, if you guys want to jump over to our Reddit /unratified ACR, join in the conversation. Go over to our YouTube, watch the videos, pause and rewind, and
Yeah. If you got any comments, ideas, new thoughts around the stuff that we're discussing, we would love to hear everyone's input.
Yeah, and obviously, how does it go? Smash that like, subscribe, bell thing. I don't know how this stuff works, man. I'm not those.
I mean, neither one of us are good at technology.
Thumbs up, like, I don't know what other ones. But anyways, y'all have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next weekend. Thanks, everybody. Bye.